Hey guys, thanks for joining us here at Salty Ginger Talk. If you're a returning listener, it's great to have you back. If you're new to the channel, we're glad that you're here and we hope you like what you hear. Our podcast is for people that want to learn something new or make themselves a little bit better every day. So we cover a wide range of topics, focus a lot on taking personal responsibility, controlling our thought process, controlling our emotions, making left brain fact-based decisions. In the vein of left brain fact-based decisions, in our episode today, we're going to talk about why, very clearly, men and women are not equal and why that's good. So for the past decade or so, there's been a lot of mainstream noise around equality between men and women. And I think the reason that conversation gets so contentious is because all of us think about the word equality in terms of things being the same. And it should be very obvious to anyone that men and women are not the same. I think the challenge comes in when people try to say, okay, if they're not the same, then which one's better? And the answer is neither are better, or it could be men or it could be women based on this particular thing or aspect that you're looking at. So, to start off with, let's just talk about the word equal. So we looked up the word equal in the dictionary, Google dictionary now. You know, we're old, so we used to do paper dictionaries, a hardbound copy of the dictionary and look things up that way. But on Google, there were 4 definitions for equal, 2 of them that kind of related to mathematics. And we think those are the ones that probably confuse people the most, or they think about in the wrong way as it relates to the conversation around men and women. So the first definition is being the same in quantity, size, degree, or value, right? So that's kind of a math definition. Add equal amounts of water and flour, the same amount of water and flour. Second definition is having the ability or the resources to meet a challenge, as in the players proved equal to the task. I don't think that's the definition that we're looking for here. As a noun, a person or thing considered to be the same as another in status or quality. We all treat each other as equals. Now, that's a good thing to think through, or a good thing to think about as it relates to men and women, because we do want to treat each other as equally important in the world, because I do absolutely think men and women are equally important in the world. But again, they're not equal, they're not the same, and we need to stop thinking about it from that respect. And then the last definition is be the same as in number or amount. 4 plus 6 divided by 2 equals 5. So another math definition. So when we talk about men and women not being equal, what we're saying is they're not the same. They're not the same. They're not ever going to be the same. And I don't think that's controversial at all. And in fact, there are some physiological differences that we can talk about, and we will talk about, that just are inherently different between men and women. We can find a fossil or a skeleton from someone that lived, a person that lived 5,000 years ago. And we can test that fossil and very quickly determine whether that was a male or a female fossil. Because at the cellular level, men and women are different. Now, there's also some anecdotal things that we can all see with our own eyes that tell us that in most instances, men and women are different. Are there outliers? Of course there are. Are there men that are very nurturing? Yes, there are. In general, women are better at nurturing than men. Are there women who are aggressive and protective and provide? Of course there are. In general, that's more of a male trait than women. But we're going to go through some things, and some of them are indisputable. The other ones, I think anyone with some common sense and some world experience is going to agree to these things. And this doesn't mean that we want to be disrespectful to anyone in the trans community, for example. If there are men who want to live their lives as women, fine by us. You have every right to do that right up until your choices infringe on other people's rights. And then it's up to you to figure out how to deal with that in your life, not force everybody else to change how they deal with things to accommodate you. We don't do that anywhere else in society, where we allow a small minority of people to dictate how the rest of society is going to operate. So we don't just say, hey, you know what? The criminal had a bad life. We'll just leave him alone. No, we put him in jail and rehabilitate him. And the rest of normal society, the rest of society that doesn't commit crimes, goes about their business. It's the same thing in this instance where men are men, women are women. They generally have traits that go with their gender, and the vast majority of society conforms with those traits, and that's how society's been set up for a long time because it's a very normal and natural thing. Nothing wrong with the outliers. Nothing wrong with being one of the outliers. Nothing wrong with living your life as one of the outliers. We support you. You got our full respect. But we're not going to change society and change the definitions of words. We're not going to change how things work to accommodate a small group of people. So let's dig into some of these things that we're talking about here. On average, males and females differ in aspects like physical build, muscle mass and fat distribution, hormone levels, testosterone and estrogen, bone structure, height, lifespan, propensity for certain diseases, cognitive strengths, communication styles, reproductive capabilities. Men typically have more muscle mass, higher testosterone, larger bone structures, and females typically have higher body fat percentage, wider hips, and the ability to carry a pregnancy. So, I shouldn't say I don't think, there is no disputing those things. Those are scientific facts. And the way science works, there's been all this talk about trust the science since COVID. When you can prove something over and over and over again in science, it becomes a fact. It goes from hypothesis to fact. And just statement of fact, men are biologically different than women, and women are biologically different than men. Period. There's no further debate. There's no redefining those things. That's how they are. And we got to quit pretending that that's not true, because it's counterproductive to us becoming stronger and better as a society. So let's deal with the physical build. Men have more muscle mass, a larger frame. They also metabolize energy faster. So when males go through puberty, their bones grow longer, they grow denser, they put on more muscle, and they metabolize at the cellular level. They metabolize energy faster than women. So no amount of testosterone or puberty blockers or those things are going to change those things in men. They just don't. And so it is what it is, whether you like to admit it or not. That's how things work. And that's a good thing, because men provide certain benefits in society and women provide certain benefits in society. So that's that. Women have a higher body fat percentage, and that is for childbearing. It's to carry children and to bring children into the world. They have a higher body fat percentage concentrated around their hips and their breasts, and that's absolutely for reproduction. So designed that way by nature, on purpose, not a mistake, it's not debatable. That's just how things work. Hormones, again, scientific fact. Males produce higher levels of testosterone, which influences their muscle development and aggression. That's why men are more aggressive. That's why men fight more. That's why men fight in wars more. And females have higher estrogen levels, and those regulate things like their menstrual cycle and pregnancies. So that's just statement of fact. Men and women are different at a biological level. Men generally grow taller than women. That doesn't mean there's not tall women. That doesn't mean there's not short men. But on average, if you look at the height of all males and the height of all females, men are taller than women. That's how it is. Lifespan. Women generally live longer than men. Last thing I saw in the U.S., I think it was about 7 years. But that's an indisputable fact. Women have a longer life expectancy than men. They just do. Disease susceptibility. Depending on which gender you are more susceptible to certain diseases. Prostate cancer. Breast cancer in women. Men tend to get prostate cancer much more than women. Women tend to get breast cancer much more than men. So, that's just scientific fact. There is decades of data to support those numbers. So you can't change that because you don't want it to be true. Not how it works. Now, some of the rest of the things that we're going to talk about, yes, are these scientific facts? No, they're not. But does the vast majority of evidence support these statements? Of course it does. And you can argue it all you want. You can try to change the definitions all you want, but it's the truth. Cognitive strengths. Studies suggest difference in cognitive abilities, with women often showing stronger verbal skills and men demonstrating better spatial reasoning. And yes, can you find women that are really good with spatial relationships? Of course. Can you find men that have really strong verbal skills? Of course. But on average, women are better communicators and have stronger verbal skills and stronger emotive skills than men. Men are more aggressive, men are more protective than women are, just in general. That's how it is. Communication style. So, research shows that women are more relationship focused in communication, and men prioritize directness and problem solving. Again, will you find very direct problem solving women? Of course you will. We find very relationship focused men? You bet you will. But on average, you're going to find men are more direct and problem solvers, and women are more relationship focused. And if you've ever taken a statistics class, you're familiar with the bell curve. So a bell curve has a kind of a tail and it goes up like this, and then it comes down. There's another tail on the other side. And in this bell curve in the middle where it goes way up, this is where the vast majority of the subjects of whatever you're studying fall. And what we're talking about is where men and women fall within these bell curves on specific attributes. And there's study after study after study that show these things. I know that it'd be, some folks would really like it to be different, but it's not different. And it's important that we embrace those things, because we have shown over a long period of time in society that the best situation when it's available, and it's not the only situation when it works, and it's not that doesn't mean that there's not other ways to do it, but by and large, the best way to raise a family is with a mom and a dad, a husband and a wife, a father and a mother. And that doesn't mean that there's not great couples that are two men, two women, or a single mother or a grandmother that raises kids. Got it. And we commend everybody that's doing what they need to do in the situation that they're in. We're not disparaging them. We're not looking down on them. We're not saying they're less than. What we are saying is that in a perfect world, if we could pick it, the best way for a family unit to exist is with a husband and a wife. And in general, the husband is the protector and the provider, and the wife is the nurturer and the glue that holds it together. And we can speak from experience. You know, we've been married to our wife for 32 years, and we follow very traditional gender roles. And that works really well for us. We know people that don't follow those gender roles. It works really well for them, and that's great. We get along with them well. We respect what they do. We have we give them a ton of credit. But by and large, that's just how things are. And even in those situations where they take different roles than traditional roles, in some aspects of their life, in most aspects of their life, the male and female dynamic is still very, very strong and still holds very, very true. So, you know, it's something that we feel strongly about, that we have as a society. We've kind of lost our way in telling the truth and really kind of being honest about what works and what doesn't work. And again, there's exceptions to every situation, and we're not trying to look down on people. We're not trying to disparage people. We're not trying to criticize people, but we need to stop trying to rewrite science. We need to stop trying to redefine words. And it's important to celebrate the fact that men and women are different, because they bring so much to the world in the roles that they play. And we think it's one of the reasons why there's so many unhappy young people. There's a lot of young people out there who really want to fight these gender roles. And it's one of the reasons that they're unhappy, is because they get into life and they say, hey, you know what? I thought if I pursued this path, I'd be happy, but I'm not happy. I'd rather pursue a more traditional path. And they feel peer pressure and societal pressure to continue down the path that they're on, instead of really embracing what they really want, which is instinctual, it's natural, it's very normal, and we've got to quit pretending that that's not the case, because it's really causing a lot of problems for the younger people in our world. So that's the whole impetus of our episode for today, guys. Men and women are different. We should celebrate those differences. We should recognize those differences. And men and women are not equal. With that said, men are not more important than women. Women are not more important than men. We need to figure out how to embrace those gender roles and still be respectful and supportive of each other, so that we can get society to a better place. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you liked the episode. James puts it up over here every day. Don't forget to go to our website, saltygingertalk.com. We've got all of our podcast episodes available there. We've got a weekday newsletter that we publish that you can subscribe to there. And we've got links to all of our other social media content on there. And please like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you consume it on. Super helpful for us. Appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we will see you next time.